Hey guys, this is my podcast. My name's Josh,
And I'm Riley.
and today we're going to be talking about nostalgic games. And both me and Riley are 17 years of age. I think Riley, are you 17 or 18?
Yeah, still. In June. I'm 18.
June. But so we're talking about nostalgic games today, and we've got different categories we're going to start with. We're going to start with Nintendo games, and then we're
So,
going to
like
go to
the Wii and the GameCube.
yeah,
We're going to
and,
start with
and that stuff, and then we're going to go to Xbox, and we're going to go to PlayStation, and then we're going to go to like school computer games that we used to play.
Yeah.
And so, starting off with like Nintendo games and whatnot, I was a big fan of Pokemon Fire Red. I still, to this day, have a Game Boy Advance that I sometimes turn on
Yeah.
Pokemon for and play a little bit.
Exactly. I actually found my Game Boy Small Pocket yesterday. I found it.
Nice.
And I actually played it last night. I think it was 2 hours. I played Pokemon from where I left off. So I mean, it's a very nostalgic game, and I feel like all the Pokemon games are very fun, and especially with the new one coming out, I feel like that'll be a lot of fun.
The new two, actually, it's Pokemon Sapphire, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pokemon and Sapphire.
Yeah.
Sapphire and Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Another one I really liked was on the GameCube, and I had a GameCube almost my whole life. My dad actually had it before I was born. And I loved the old Mario Karts. Mario Kart.
Ooh.
Oh, what was it? It was like Mario Kart, like Double Dash, I think.
Mario Kart is very nostalgic, especially with all of the different ones. They're very nostalgic.
Because I feel like for many people, Mario Kart is like your first game.
It was their first
that
game,
you play
yeah.
with Mario.
Exactly.
And unless you were like really old school and you actually played the original games, like
the
Super
original
Bros.
one, yeah.
But for me, that was probably like the first actual Mario game that had all the characters in it,
Yeah.
and the first Mario Kart game I played, and that was very nostalgic for me because it was the first kind of console I actually had,
Yeah.
where it's like a free controller and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. But what about you?
My three favorites are Wii Sports, both the first one and Resort.
Yeah.
Those are both my favorites. Because I'm a very sporty person.
Yeah.
I'm a very sporty person, so I like all the sports games. I also like Super Mario Sluggers, and we're throwing it
Yeah.
back to Mario.
Yep.
That was
I had
another
that
good
game.
one. And then Kirby.
Right,
Kirby is very nostalgic.
I have Kirby.
Kirby is very fun, and that's a game.
Kirby Return to Dreamland is
Yeah,
the one I have.
that's the one that I used to play with my brother all the time. That's where we really connect. Especially
yeah, that's a good
because
multiplayer game.
me and him, we're polar opposites, and then in some categories we're the same person, and one of those is video games.
Yeah.
So it's a very nice thing that we can bond over. But after the Wii games, we were going to talk about Xbox games, and we're throwing it back to the 360.
Yeah, old Xbox games.
Because that's where the games were.
None of those Xbox One games.
Exactly. My three favorites were Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Yep.
Because I would stay up all night playing that.
I had that one.
I would play till like 6 or 7, and I'd look out the window and I'd see the sun, and I'm like, I stayed up the whole night.
Right. Yeah.
And then another one I played was Nicktoons MLB.
I never had that one.
It's really fun. It's like a
played
Nicktoons
Smash
and like
Bros.
baseball crossover. So you could play with Avatar.
Oh, nice.
You could play with you could play with the bull. I forgot his name. You could play with SpongeBob the Flying Dutchman, who was a power hitter, so he was good. And then you could cross over with MLB players. So like with the Royals, you could play with Jeffrey Core, Billy Butler,
Nice.
Alex Gordon. So it was a really fun game. And then my third one would probably be NBA. Because that's a game that I would play with my dad.
Yeah.
And I still do. And it's a nice way to bond without going out and actually playing sports. Because with our time evolving, we don't really go outside that much anymore.
Right.
What were your
Some of my favorite ones for the Xbox were Bioshock, and
Bioshock was
it's
a really
not
good one.
necessarily an old game, but I had that when I was littler, and that was kind of the first game that was like kind of not necessarily like a shooter game, but like like an adventure game.
An adventure, yeah.
And that one, and I had all the Halo games, all the Halo games except for Infinite now that just recently came out. But I used to play all those with my friends and my siblings. And then another one I loved to play was Skylanders.
Skylanders was a really good one that I forgot
awesome.
about. That was another one that I played with my brother. But I forgot the Lego games.
Yeah, Lego games were good. I
Lego
played that all
games.
on the Wii and whatnot.
Yeah, I was with the 360, but that was another game I played with my brother because it was a nice way for us to bond.
Now, I know you're not the biggest PlayStation player, but I have a PlayStation that I used to play when I was a kid. And the biggest one for me was Skyrim on that one. Skyrim was probably the first really big open map game that I was able to play.
That is the first open world game I played, but I also played that on the 360 because I was a Xbox kid growing up and you were a PlayStation kid.
Yeah.
But no, Skyrim's a really fun one, especially because it's an open world. But I always used to take the carriage. That was my favorite part.
Yeah,
and I still remember the glitches that you could like get out and you could go and
steal some chests.
Yeah, steal the chests.
But I loved that one just because it was kind of like the first open world and first like multi-quest thing that you could do. Like you didn't have to do the main quest. You could do a bunch of other stuff first, and it wasn't like mainly story driven.
Yeah. See, I was more on the medieval side of it. It wasn't as much as the open world-esque. It was more the medieval because I really love medieval games.
Like the magic and sorcery.
Yeah,
and
like the magic and all the forgery. Like that was my favorite part.
And dragons. Everyone likes dragons.
Oh, the dragons is the best part.
And then another one kind of on the same topic as like Bethesda was Fallout.
Fallout was a really good one.
And I've only played Fallout 4. I've played a little bit of New Vegas.
Yeah.
But it was really hard, surprisingly, and I haven't played it in a while. But that was another kind of open world game that I got after Skyrim. That I kind of played Skyrim, and I was like, "Ooh, these open world maps are really cool."
I know. I love the open world, also with the aspect of Fallout. It's like another thing.
It kind of really made you think about like what people were going through back in that time.
Yeah, but I like at the beginning it's set in the 50s-esque.
Right. Yeah.
But I really like how with the video games I play, they're like things that I can't do in real life. That's the thing I love about video games because I feel like sometimes it could be an escape or do something that you can't do in real life. So that's what I like.
Just go on that adventure, but you're stuck in your house.
Exactly.
And as a kid, that's really nice because I know, like when you're a kid, you want to go on an adventure, go with your friends, play, and do all that stuff.
On it. Whenever I got into Skyrim, I would get like the wooden sword, and I'd have sword fights with my friend because I wanted to do it in real life.
You just grab that perfect stick on the ground, and you're like, "Let's fight."
Exactly, and I feel like that's what really drove me to Skyrim as well.
But moving on to school computer games, and man, I remember playing school computer games in elementary school, and it was like you got all your homework done, you got all your classwork done for the day. It was a Friday, so you're looking for the weekend, and the teacher doesn't want to do anything. And she says at the when you got 10 minutes left in class, all right, if you want to get on the computers, you can do it now. And I would sprint to the first computer I could find. And play all the cool math games.
I loved the part whenever it would like recess would get rained out or snowed out. And we would sit inside, and I remember
just in the computer labs.
Yeah, I remember 5th grade. That's whenever I really got a computer because I had transferred from Blue Springs here in Liberty, and we didn't have computers there. But then as soon as I got here, we got computers, and it was really fun because that's whenever they weren't as strict as they are now. But I used to love doing that, and I would get my little friend group huddled around, and we'd watch each other, and it was a lot of fun to do. But back to the computer labs, that's the computer that I had whenever I was in Blue Springs.
Yeah,
that's what I had, and the game I would play a lot was Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham.
Yeah,
which I played yesterday because it was
just
on
for
my
the nostalgia.
Mind. Exactly, for the nostalgia. But it was a really fun game because you had to you go through the Dr. Seuss story, but it also took innovation because they had ramps and fans, and you had
kind of like a Rube Goldberg kind of thing.
Exactly, and you had to point it in the right direction. But another one that I used to play was In Game.
Yeah,
that is the main one that I would play whenever recess got snowed out.
Yeah,
that's the one that I would play, and I remember in middle school, whenever the teacher wasn't looking, I would get on that and I'd start playing it, and then they look at me, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Switch the tab.
Right. And it kind of taught you as a young kid to kind of have that little fun, competitive, but still be nice to each other kind of
exactly.
Because you'd be playing this game and it'd be a one-player game, but you'd get to the computer first, and your friend couldn't find a spot, so you just share the same computer. It's like, ooh, how far can I get in this one? Oh, I died, and then your friend took over and was like, oh, I beat your score, and then now it's a competition to see
that just made the friendships better.
Yeah,
it just made the friendships better. But also back to me, like swapping tabs. It made me more self-aware about things,
right?
And it made me a better person to have reaction time because I'm a sporty person. I play soccer.
Yeah.
So it helped me with my reaction
hand-eye
time.
coordination on that.
Yeah, and it helped with that a lot, especially when you be looking at the screen and you can't see the buttons.
Right.
It just helped with your hand-eye
just working with that mapping. But like, long story short, nostalgic games
are the best of the best.
People don't understand like how much they can just teach you and like change your childhood.
They can teach you a lot, and also it's just very nice to go back and experience those.
Yeah, because, I mean, I would give anything to kind of just go back to that elementary school and sit in that dark computer lab with my friends around me and play Cube Field or other, like, racing games on Cool Math and just see how far you could get each time. And that was a really big part of my childhood, and I know a lot of other people played video games when they were children, But long story short, nostalgic video games are just one of the big building blocks of life when you're a kid.
Exactly.
And but I think that's all the time we have for today, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast and enjoy gaming.